Alright, DoD Instruction 85-2002, Public Key Infrastructure, Public Key Enabling. For the Department of Defense Chief and Information Officer, May 18, 2023, approved for public release, available the Director of the Division website, ESD Mill. DoD Instruction 85-2002, Public Key Infrastructure, Public Key Enabling, May 24, 2011, see paragraph 1-3. John B. Sherman, DoD Chief of Information Officer, Public Purpose of declaring for the authority of the Department Directive 51-4402, issuing with established policy assignment responsibility procedures for DoD public key infrastructure, the public key enabling. Prior procedure developing implementation of DoD public key infrastructure, enhanced security with the DoD information systems and enabling system public key information authentication, digital signature encryption, DoD key infrastructure and public key enabling activity, DoD unclassified networks, DoD secret fabric networks, and networks with the DoD mission partner environment pursuant to the policy requirements of DoD Instruction 1013-8500-01. General issuance information, applicability policy, incorporated canceled documents, responsible to the Department of Defense, Chief Information Officer, Director of the Defense Information System and Agency, Director of the Department of Defense Public Key Infrastructure, PMO, Under Secretary of the Defense Intelligence Security, the Director of the NSA, Chief of Central Security Services, the Director of the Defense for Human Resources Activity of the U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for DoD, Component Head of the Secretary of Air Force, Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff of the Commander of the United States Cyber Command, Implementation Procedure for the Public Key with the DoD Unclassified Public Key Infrastructure, DoD NSS Public Key Infrastructure, External Public Key Infrastructure, U.S. Coalition Public Key Infrastructure, Public Key Enablement, Authentication, Digital Signature, and Encryption, Appendix A3, Criteria for the Issuing Alternative Tokens, like GEO, FOS, SES, and their designated staff. We have a mission partner, external personal key, personal public key in infrastructure approval process, and glossary acronyms and definitions. Table 1, mission partner and public key infrastructure on DoD unclassified networks. Or general issue with information applicable with the issue of life of the Office of Security of the Military Department, Office of the Chairman, the Joint Chief of the Staff of the Joint Staff of the Combat Command, of the Office of the Inspector General of the Department of Defense, of the Defense Agency, for the of the DOD, for the other activity, other organizational activity within the DOD, with the referred collectively as included with the DOD components. Coast Guard, when involved with the Coast Guard, operative with the DOD, support with the network, Coast Guard, IS, in information systems network with a directly affected with the Department of Defense information network with the DoD with the mission of the Trinity of the Clone with the January 19th, 2007 with a memorandum of agreement between the Department of Defense, the Department of Homeland Security with all of the DoD unclassified security fabric networks for the information system under the authority of the Secretary of the Defense. Example does not include non-classified Internet Protocol Router Network or the secret of the Internet Protocol Router Network or the Defense Reach of the Engineering Network or the secret of the Defense Reach of the Engineering Network of the secret Internet Protocol Router Network. Releasability demilitarized zone with the DoD with an MEP, as the MPE, Contractor Information System and the National Industrial Security Information System, included with those of the owned with the operative on behalf of the DoD, included with the system with the hosted with the DoD with the data center with the contractor operated system, the processing with the DoD only information, cloud hosted system, included with the platform, server the infrastructure, server with all of the DoD, non-DoD with the included with the persons, with the non-person, with the non-person, and physical devices, virtual machines, information system, robotic processing, automation, artificial intelligent bots, and other processes. Logically assessing unclassified secret fabric networks, information systems under the authority of the Secretary of Defense, including with the DoD, with the mission part, with the DO, with the beneficiary, with the do not apply, with the information system, processing, storing, transmitting, sensitive with the competent, contemplating with the information over the executive authority of the policy of the Director of the National Intelligence, pursuant with Executive Order 1233 with the other laws and regulation. Internet serviceability operative with the DoD, special acts of the program community with the duty with the highly sensitive with the nature of the special acts of the program, the material of the system, and the managed for the independently with the fall under the purview of the DoD special access program chief of the information officer with the policy with the DoD with the operative the maintain with the DoD with the classified with the personal key infrastructure with the DoD with the classified with the network with the DoD national security system, personal key infrastructure, DoD secret fabric networks with the U.S. coalition, personal key infrastructure on the networks, the DoD MPE with the DoD enterprise with additional with the identified with the credential with the access to management services, DoD information services under the DoD unclassified secret fabric network, the networks within the MP with it must enable the information system except for the DoD approve of the personal key infrastructure certificate, digital sign, email, the document support with encryption information transit with the email transport layer secure with a small card log on DoD network with the Department of Instruction 852003. Here's the principal with the authentication privilege to NPE with the DoD with a system with the application with the C with the Department of Defense Instruction 852003 with the circumstance with the DoD with approval of the alternate with the need with the identification authentication permitted to support with the approval of the additional function with the DoD chief of the information officer the mandate with the DoD with chief of the information officer mandates the approval of the personal key infrastructure the operative with the DoD mission partner with the commercial with the vendor with the Department of Defense information system support email signatures encryption with the information train with the authentication DoD resource incorporated with the cancel documentation incorporated with the issue with the incorporated the cancel also with the system to defend the network information integration with the DoD chief of the information the defense of the Department of Defense the external with the inoperability planning August 26, 2010 office the chief of the information office of the memorandum approval of the external with the public key of the infrastructure June 22nd, 2008 with the office of the chief of the information office of the memorandum combined communication electronic board interoperable secret networks July 30, 2012 official of the chief of the information office of the memorandum commercial public key of the infrastructure certificate of public face of the DoD website with November 8, 2021 office of the chief of the information office of the management with the Department of Defense acceptance of the use of the personal identifiable verifiable verification and operable credentials October 5th, 2010 officer of the chief of the information with the DoD component with the user of the personal key infrastructure with a certificate digital signature February 3rd, 2011 office of the chief of the information office of the memorandum with the DoD with the requirement to accept the NFI with the information identity information June 24th, 2013 office of the chief of the information manager with the DoD with the digital signature operability May 5th, 2006 office of the chief of the information office of the manager with the encryption with the emails between with the Department of Defense and the mission partners December 16, 2009 office of the chief of the information office of the memorandum with the internal digital authentication guidelines unclassified secret classified with the DoD networks information system August 20th, 2008. So we got Office of Chief of the Information Office of Memorandum issuing with the second secret of the Internet Protocol Router Network Public Key Infrastructure for the token of the Army senior leaders. Office of Chief of the Information Office of Memorandum Public Key Infrastructure Inoperable Five Eyes Partner Nations Non-Secure Internet Protocol Routing Network. Office of the Chief of the Information Office with the requirement of the Public Key Infrastructure for the certification non-personal entity with the non-classified Internet with the Protocol Router Network and Secret Internet Protocol Router Network. Office of the Chief of the Information Office of Memorandum Secret Internet Protocol Router with the network public key infrastructure with the token with the contract with the Internet Protocol Router with the network enclaves. Section 2, Responsibility. The Section 2 with the responsibility of the Department of Defense Chief of the Information Office with the responsible of the paragraph 2 with the Department of the Chief of the Information Office over the implementation of the relief of the DoD with the public key infrastructure with the Department of Defense Instruction 1013, 1025, 8501, the direct control oversee with the providing guidance with all the aspects of the Department of Defense public key infrastructure with the program channel with the DoD with the unclassified with the NSS public key infrastructure, develop strategies, establish priorities for the coordinate with the responsible requirement with the public key infrastructure program, see with the policy management authority with the PMA with the DoD with the unclassified public key infrastructure with the DoD external public certification authority public key infrastructure approve of the chain with the DoD unclassified public key infrastructure with the DoD external certification authority of the public key infrastructure certificate policies. So with the authority over the official of the DoD public key infrastructure program approved with the enterprise with the authority to operate with the DoD public key infrastructure. The program approved with the DoD with the public key infrastructure form with the factor with the common access with the card NSF with the secret protocol network with the public key infrastructure with the credential with the DoD public key and identification authentication and signature of the device code signing with the groups of role with the encrypted circuit with the unclassified with the network and protocol of the network, enterprise with the alternative token system, alternate token, mobile, public key infrastructure solution, and the credential of the L3 with the public key infrastructure with the network login system authentication with the Department of Defense Instruction 852003 upon request of the DoD with the public key infrastructure with the program management officer with the evaluate with the approve of the relief with the independent compliant with the audit letter with the federal other public key infrastructure with which the DoD has relations with the DoD public key infrastructure with the PMO with the program management officer with the DoD components with the DoD with the NSS with the public key infrastructure with the certification authorizations authorized direct with the DoD component system owner of the install certificate authority with the public of the certificate of the respective system application public key infrastructure with the trust over the overseas facility with the DoD with the approval of profit external with the public key infrastructure by the external with the public key infrastructure with approval of the unclassified secret fabric of the network system with negotiating and segmenting with the DoD component public key infrastructure operable memorandum agreement cross certification agreement external public key information and public key information infrastructure certificate providers. Established for the maintenance of the cross certification responsibility between the DoD with the unclassified public key infrastructure with the Federal Public Key Infrastructure with the with the Federal Public Key Infrastructure Policy Authority X509CP for the U.S. Federal Public Key Infrastructure CP framework. Collaborate with the Federal Public Key Infrastructure Community with the DoD voting member of the Federal Public Key Infrastructure Policy Authority Committee with the National Security System with the verify with the acceptance of the DoD unclassified public key infrastructure of the DoD External Certificate Authority Public Key Infrastructure of the DoD NSN Public Key Infrastructure by other federal executive branches, department, and agencies assigned to delegate DoD representation meeting with the government commercial with the public key infrastructure with the working groups of organization with the certificate authority browser form with the federal public key infrastructure as necessary. Coordinators implement the U.S. Coalition on the public key infrastructure with the DoD executive agent with the Dod PME. Direct with the deployment of the public key and non-nuke public key infrastructure with the base for the technology nature of it become with the commercial availability of with the direction of the National Security Agency. Collaborate with the public key infrastructure with the program management officer with the periodic update with the DoD unclassified public key infrastructure and the NSS public key infrastructure showing public key based cryptographic algorithms, hashing, encryption with quantum resistant algorithms, associated key size of parameters to meet with the DoD security and operable needs. Direct DoD components configured with the information technology with the support with a strong public key based cryptological algorithms, hyper hashing encryption with the quantum resistant algorithms, associated key set with the parameters to meet with the DoD security with the inoperable need with the National Security Agency. They provide oversight with the Department of Defense External Authority, U.S. Coalition Public Key Infrastructure according with the policy and requirement of the Department Directive 5101-22E. The Director of Defense Information System Agency under the authority direction of the control of the Department of Defense Chief of the Information Officer additional with the paragraph 2 of the Director of the Defense Information Security System Agency with the April 9, 1999. The Assistant Secretary of Defense of the Command with the control of the Communication Intelligence Memorandum point for the Deputy Program Manager for the Department of Defense Public Key Information Program Manager Office of the Department of Public Key Information Infrastructure Operational Support DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Management Officer with the coordinator with the Defense Information System Agency, the Program Key Infrastructure Operational Implementation Activity Director of the DoD Public Key Information Program Management Officer. Take over the operations system of the certain public key information operation system capability with the National Security Administrator with the transit with the DoD Public Key Information and Public Key Infrastructure Program Operative of the maintain with the according with the certificate of the authorized certificating authority issuing certificate authority certificate validating service of the key resource service for the DoD unclassified public key information, including maintain with the certification restatement practice statement for intermediate certificate authority issuing the certificate authority certificate validation support the key recovery service for the DoD unclassified public key infrastructure in accordance with the DoD with X509CP. Operating an intermediate with a certificate authority issuing certificate authority certification validation server the key with the recovery server with the associated with the CPS of the certification processing state with the facility with third party audit with each of the defense with intelligence security agency the support with the DoD unclassified public key infrastructure with the provider control with the DoD with the public key infrastructure with the program management officer and with the DoD chief of the information officer. Operate maintain chief certificate authority certificate validations for the key with the recovery server with the DoD with the NSF with the S with the PK from public key infrastructure included the maintain with the CPS or the certification practice statements for the certificate authority certificate verification server the key recover the server the DoD with the portion NSS public key information in accordance with the commercial committee with the National Security System instructions and 1300. Operating the certificate authority certificate validation server to the key for recovery server the for the associated certification practice statement of the facilitating third party audit for each of the different defense of the intelligence security agency that runs this war with the DoD with the NSS security key infrastructure providing result of the DoD public key infrastructure public key infrastructure program management officer with the common server that provide with the NSS public key infrastructure the operates maintain with the NSS public key infrastructure include with maintaining the certificate practice statement including certificate authority issuing certificate authority and certificate validation server that is key for recovery server the going for the CNSSI 13 operating maintaining intermediate certificate authority issuing certificate validation server the key the recovery server the going with associated with the certificate practice server the facility third party audit with each of the system Defense of the Intelligence Defense of the Intelligence System Agency runs the support of the NSS Public Key Infrastructure Common Service provided with providing resolve of the DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Management, all with according with the Federal Public Key Infrastructure support with the development of Federal Public Trust Public Key Infrastructure unclassified the NPE with the public key infrastructure which is anticipated most widely used in the commercial website browser operating system will trust. Draft developed to maintain the public key infrastructure related to the technical information guidelines security requirement guides. Makes certificate authority server availability included the recover the private games associated with the encrypted certificate retrieval over the archive of the public key infrastructure certificate publication distribution certificate revocation information designated with the maintainment of the repository listed with the DoD approved with the external of the public key infrastructure the post with the intermediate certificate authority certificate policy object with identified with the DoD approved with the unclassified secret fabric external public key infrastructure will update at least quarterly maintain with the oversee with the external certificate authority program to have with the Department of Defense chief with the information officer to obtain with the external certificate authority external liaison officer external certificate external liaison officer access the point of contact receive with the coordinate with the communication between the external coordinate certificate authority community with the DoD program DoD public key infrastructure program management officer published with the name of the contact with the information DoD website with the common access card holders support the public key enabling and public key infrastructure implementation DoD network system with the designated and maintained with the regular update with the DoD with the repository policy with the best practice with the lessons learned with the technical guidance for implementation public key infrastructure with the DoD information technology resource and providing public key enabling support assistance with the DoD component with the public key enabling help desk provide public key enabling support assistance directly end user personnel with the system under the DoD organization of the DoD militia partners that have not dedicated the public key enabling support advertising DoD components how this will accept the DoD approval of the external of the public key infrastructure such as the DoD approval of the mission of the partner with the public key infrastructure maintain publicizing making available to DoD user contact information DoD wide the DoD component public key enabling supporting offices implementing system with secret internet protocol network public key information token management system NPE systems secret protocol network and national and network non-internet protocol network provides National Internet Protocol Network provides DoD enterprise public key information credential capability, provides cybersecurity data information system agency operating with the DoD public key infrastructure with the coordinates with the Department of Defense Instruction 853001 form regulation authority with the audits both with the Department of Defense unclassified with the NSS public key information hosted global directory with the make available the certificate authority with the certificate revocation link with the DoD external control authority NSS public key information additional global directory serve with the public key and information authenticated by access with the public email with the encryption certification with the double the end with the public key and enable the NG with the notify with the DoD receive the information off of the DoD unclassified public key information certificate authority establishing an interoperable test command the designated operational testing agency DoD public key and infrastructure program the joint interoperable test command responsible for the operating maintaining public key information and infrastructure testing lab support with the DoD public key infrastructure responsibility included not limited to the testing support with the need of the operation system with the DoD public key infrastructure providing environmental support and interoperable testing with the Defense Manpower Data Center, real-time automated personal identification system or RAPIDS, infrastructure system with the technology for purpose testing, interoperable DoD approved with external public key infrastructure with the DoD unclassified secret fabric networks and information systems upon request of the DoD component testing commercial off-shelf products of the public key infrastructure capability, director of the DoD public key information public program management officer under the authority direction control of the Department of Defense chief information officer with the accordance with the April 9, 1999 Assistant Secretary of Defense Command and Control Communication Intelligence Memorandum Director of the Department of Defense Public Key Infrastructure Program Management Officer with the National Security Agency, the Defense Intelligence Security Agency, the DMCD, DC DoD Public Key Information Requirement of Recommended Strategies of Program Priority of the DoD Public Key Information Program. The Department of Defense Chief of Information Officer for the DoD Public Key Information Infrastructure Program. Formal end of the DoD Public Key Information Infrastructure Acquisition Activities. Coordinate with the Public Key Infrastructure Functional Requirements of the DoD Component Heads of the Federal Public Key Infrastructure. Coordinate with the DMDC with the on-stream of the DoD Unclassified Public Key Infrastructure Certificate Profile Configuration Chain of the Common Access Card of the Public Key Infrastructure. Related requirements for the Common Access Card Rapids. Coordinate with the Undersecretary of Defense and Intelligence Security for the verify with the Rapid Designated with the Department of Defense Unclassified Public Key Infrastructure Credentials or the Common Access Card can probably interface with the physical access of the control system control of the NSA. Later the vulnerability to the unclassified NSS Public Key Infrastructure. Coordinate with the Chairman, the Joint Chief of Staff of the DoD Component Secretary of the Air Force, with the DoD EEA, with the DoD MPE, with the Committee of the National Security System, Public Key Infrastructure Member, Governing Body, Intelligence Community, Public Key Information Manager of the Verify with the DoD, Public Key Information Deploy, publicly enabled information systems that are capable supporting joint allied coalition-based operation when required, directing operating feedback mechanisms to identify the gaps of DoD Public Key Information capabilities and policy, facilitate cross-organizational efforts, explore emerging requirements of the credential for commercial solution, classified network system, provide system engineering, development, testing, DoD Public Key Information Program, where DoD Unclassified Public Key Information, DoD NSS Public Key Information, so report and issue issuance requirement of group role, and PE code signing information technology and provider and privileged user general public key information certificate, DoD Unclassified Secret Fabric Networks. Review the DoD route certificate authority and issue with a modified with a secret certificate authority certificates, and consult with the DoD's Chief of the Information Officer periodically upgrade the DoD unclassified public key infrastructure of the DoD NSS public key infrastructure, stronger public key cryptographic algorithms, hashing, encryption, quantum resistant algorithms, associated key set with parameters to meet DoD security and operable need to collect the public key information, third party of the audit package of the DoD unclassified public key information, DoD NSN public key information, Defense Intelligence Security Agency with the National Security Agency, DMCDC, provides a package with the DoD Chief of the Information Officer review with approval of the release of the Federal Public Key Information Infrastructure of the NSS Public Key Information Member Governing Body. Provides representation NSS Public Key Infrastructure Member Governing Body to vote when commented with the NSS Public Key Infrastructure related documents to NSS Public Key Infrastructure Member Governing Body evaluates. Lead Working Group with the Certificate Policy Management Working Group. 2. With a review of the chain of the policy with the Department of Defense External Certificate Authority and Operable Domain Web Content Filter and PKI CPE Certification Policy made the recommendation with respect of the PMAs for inclusion change control of the Review X 509 certificate practice statement with the DoD with the external certificate authority of the SN operable domain, the WCF, the certificate management authority made recommendation for approval of the PMAs. Review change proposal of the federal personal key infrastructure certificate practices, identify impact for the DoD with the external certificate authority of the certificate practices, perform comparable analysis of the personal key infrastructure certificate practices statement, external of the personal key infrastructure of the being considered the approval of the Department of Defense Chief of the Information Officer. Renewal of the Department of Defense NSF personal key infrastructure certificate practice statements before submission of the NSS personal key infrastructure MGBM, according to the CNS SSI 1300, according to Secretary of the Air Force of the Department of Defense Executive EA, DoD, MPE, and the U.S. Coalition of the Personal Key Infrastructure. Under Secretary of Defense for the Intelligence and Security and Ability with a response paragraph 2.7, and under the Secretary of Defense for the Intelligence and Security with the coordinator with the Personal Key Information Program Management Office to verify with the DoD unclassified personal key infrastructure credentials, the Common Access Card properly interface with the physical access control system, work with the DoD with the Chief of the Information Office, the DoD with the Personal Key Infrastructure Program Manager Office to integrate with the Personal Key Infrastructure into physical access of the control systems. Director of the NSA, Chief of the Central Security Service is of the authority direction of the Undersecretary of Defense Intelligence, Secretary of the Authority Direction Control Extra of the Department of Defense, Chief of the Information Officer, Activity to Cybersecurity Directorate, any successor organization, National Security Agency with funded with the Information System Security Program. In addition, with the response of the paragraph 2.7 of the Director of the NSA, Chief of the Central Security Services, coordinated with the Department of Defense, Chief of the Information Security Officer, with the appointment of the Director of the DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Management Officer, according to April 9, 1999, Assistant Secretary of Defense Command, Control, Communications, and Intelligence Memorandum, operate, maintain the roots of the Certificate Authority, DOD, Unclassified Personal Control Authority, External Control Authority, Personal Control, Public Key Infrastructure, NSS Public Key Infrastructure, Intermediate Certificate Authority, DOD, NSS Public Key Infrastructure. Accomplish this, maintains certificate practice statement with the DoD, unclassified public key infrastructure root certificate authority, accordance with the DoD X509 certificate practice, maintains certificate practice statement NSS public key infrastructure root common certificate authority, according with the Committee of the National Security System Directive 506, including National Security System Policy 25 and CNSSI 1300, maintains certificate practice statement with the External Control Authority public key infrastructure root of the Certificate Authority, according for the External Certificate Authority Certificate Practice Operate Route Certificate Authority, according for the Certificate Practice Systems Statement, and facilitating third-party audits for the external each route secret authority. Certificate Authority provide result of the DoD Public Key Information Public Program Management Officer. Maintenance of the line developed DoD with the NSS Public Key Infrastructure for the Commercial Credential Card Act and control with the CNSSD 506, CNSSP 25, CNSSI 1300, provide technical support, smart card technology matters, implement DoD portion of NSS Public Key Infrastructure upon request, provide secret review of the DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Management Office of the DoD Chief Information Officer of the DoD, approve the external of the Public Key Infrastructure, shown Public Key Infrastructure, being considered the DoD, approve the team of the Public Key Infrastructure Operation, Federal Public Key Information Infrastructure Requirement Threats and to Vulnerability, Department of Defense, NSS Public Key Infrastructure, deploy new Public Key Infrastructure-based authentication encryption technology throughout the DoD under the direction guided for the DoD with the Chief of the Information Officer of the become available to support with the DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Management Officer. Okay, moving on. Director of the Department of Defense for the Resource Activities under the authority, direction, and control of the Undersecretary of Defense Personal Readiness. Additional responsible for the paragraph 2 of the Department Director of the Department of Human Resource Activities and the Director of the DMCD. Maintain rapid alternative token and information management systems, support infrastructure support for the issue of the DoD Unclassified Public Key Infrastructure Certificate, Unclassified Common Access Cards, uninformed cards, the NEATS alternate tokens, and corns for the DoD Public Key Information Infrastructure Program Management may include certificate practice statements, including common access cards operating with the National Internet Protocol Network credential infrastructure of the DoD X509 certificate practices, operating common access card wrapped and National Internet Protocol Network Credential Information Infrastructure System in accordance with the Apple's certificate practice statement, facilitating third-party auditing common access card wrapped and alternative token form information management and the National Internet Protocol Network Credential Issuance Infrastructure against applicable certificate practice services provided by the DoD Public Key Information Program Management Officer, implements the same with the NEAT, provide enterprise with the alternate credential, provides tier 1, 2, and 3 help desk support assistance, provide operative with the alternate token information management system, NEATS, maintain common access card design according with the National Institute Standard Technology Federal Information Processing Standards or FIPS, publication 2012. The Federal Public Key Information Common Policy provides technical support, DoD Public Key Information Program Manager Officer on Smart Card Technology Manager for the Impact DoD and Classified NSS Public Key Information Public Key Infrastructure, DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Management Office of the DoD Identifying Protection Management, Senior Coordinator with the Groups of Recommendation Configuration Chain with the Common Access Card Office of the DoD Public Key Information Infrastructure Smart Card Credentials Chain with the DoD Unclassified Public Key Infrastructure Certificate Profiles, provides cybersecurity with the DMCD, operated DoD Public Key Infrastructure Capabilities in accordance with the DoD Instruction 853001. Alright, Office of Secretary of Defense, Department of Defense Component Heads, Officer, Secretary of Defense, Department of Defense Component Heads, support with the DoD and classified NSS, U.S. Coalition, Public Key Infrastructure, Certificate Lifecycle System, life cycles from issuance, cancellation, key recovery, both personal and within NPEs by appointing managing RA to the local registration authorities and specify with the DoD registration authorities, local registration authorities, certificate practice statements, DoD registration practice statements, submitting addendums, DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Management Officer with approval of the DoD components, special variation, DoD resource registration authority, local registration authorities, certificate practices, certificate process statement very compliant with the DoD X509 certificate practice, issuing the DoD unclassified public key infrastructure certificate, DoD registration practice statement to verify compliance with NC and SSI 1300, issuing DoD NSS public key information infrastructure certificate, providing trained personnel with the registered authorities, local registered authorities, activity conform and associated certificate practice statement, registration practice statement, facility and compliance audit registering authority, local registering authorities, operations specified with the previous public statement, providing result of the DoD Public Key Information Program Management Officer, providing trained personnel with the perform purebred agent supervised mobile credential and enrollment support, managing oversee with the deployment and installation public key infrastructure certificate NPEs relating to non-development, rely on DoD approved public key infrastructure when using accessing public key infrastructure, authentication, digital signature, and encryption, authority public key enabling network accounts, information system, email system, web server devices, including mobile devices for the DoD component owner and program executive lead agency program manager off the equivalent process except for the public key infrastructure certificate, digitally signed emails, documents that have the ability to encrypt the information, translate, appropriate, control the unclassified information, authenticate DoD networks, come over to the Department of Defense Instruction 852003, principal means authentication per the NPE DoD Instruction 852003 for the DoD approval of the alternate means of identifying identity and authentication coordinated with the Department of Defense Public Key Information Program Management Office of the functional requirement of the Department of Defense Public Key Infrastructure Upgrade Maintenance Process coordinating Secretary of the Air Force of the Department Executive DoD MPE with the U.S. Compilation Public Key Infrastructure Coordinated Defense and Information Security Agency verified with the new commercial off-the-shelf software procurement capability of the DoD approved public key infrastructure, installing new public key infrastructure-based technology. DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Manager Officer with makes available, coordinated with the Office of Chairman, Joint Chief of Staff with the DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Manager Office of Verify, Department of Defense Information System Public Key enabled, can support joint and allied base operation involving use of the DoD approved public key infrastructure. Verify that the Department of Defense Information System application device public key enabled are configured and support with the latest public key with the cryptographic algorithm, hashing, encryption, quantum resisting algorithm, associated key size parameter. Department of Defense Chief Information Officer, record all of the DoD contracts record with the Department of Defense mission partners, over the owner and operative of the Department of Defense approved public key infrastructure for the public key information insurance structure support with the latest public key based cryptographic algorithm. Department of Defense Chief Information Officer for the mandate of the interaction. Department of Defense unclassified secret fabric for networks and information system networks of the Department of Defense MPE. 2A, Secretary of the Air Force, and the Department of Defense Directive 5101, 22E, the Department of Defense Instruction 811001, addition of the responsibility paragraph 27, the capacity of the Department of Defense, EA, and the Department of the MPE, Secret Air Force, operative, maintain the root certificate authority, U.S. Coalition Public Key Infrastructure Coordinate Certificate Authority, Unit Enterprise, serve the accomplished rather than maintaining certificate practice statement, the U.S. Coalition Public Key Information Infrastructure Root Certificate Authority, according for the U.S. Coalition X509 Certificate Practice, operating root certificate authority according to the associated certificate practice statements, and according with the Department of Defense component, U.S. Coalition Public Key Infrastructure, according with the DoD Public Key Infrastructure Program Manager, off the U.S. Coalition on the Public Key Infrastructure. Chairman of the Joint Chief of the Staff of the Additional Small Paragraph 27, the Chairman of the Joint Chief of the Staff identify, review, validate with a public key, enable the requirement of combat commands, ensure the combat command coordinate with the requirement to implement an issue with the coordinate with the Department of Defense Public Key Information Program Manager, Office of Security Air Force of the Department of Defense EA for the DoD MPE with the DoD components verified with the deployed and public key enabling information system capable of supporting joint allied and coalition-based operation. 210 Commander of the United States Cyber Command, additional responsible paragraph 27 Commander of the United States Cyber Command memorandum, the external certificate authority, personal key and infrastructure certificate, compromise monitor, issue with the DoD public key infrastructure, the DoD NSS public key infrastructure certificate, one federal public trust, public key infrastructure fully operational, maintain a log of federal public trust, public key infrastructure certificate, issue with the Department of Defense Information Systems monitoring commercial and certificate transparency log, identifying flagging any unauthorized transparent layer. Security certificates issued with the MIL domain directly to direct their immediate revocation. Section 3, Implementation Procedures.